Defender. Hello, I'm Bart Matthews, your public defender. The public defender's salary is paid for by the community, and he is charged with the responsibility of giving legal aid free of charge to any person who seeks and needs it. It is the public defender's sworn duty to defend the public accused of crime until they are proved guilty. From the files of the public defender, we bring you the case of the two brothers. I'd like to tell you about two brothers whose love for their mother involved me in one of the most baffling cases of my career. It began on a Thursday night at 11:15. The man with the leather jacket with the emblem on the back was Johnny Martin, identified immediately as the one who had robbed the store.
Bart, I can't believe that Johnny Martin is guilty.
But, Father, that's the way the boy pleaded when he was booked.
I still can't understand it, Bart. I've known Johnny all of his life, and this happens. He's always been a good boy, holds down a steady job at Dobin's garage. He attends church regularly, is a dutiful son to his invalid mother.
How sick a woman is she?
Wheelchair case. Heart trouble.
Has she learned of Johnny's arrest?
No, we try to avoid any shock.
I see. Never rains, but that it pours.
How solid a case is there against Johnny?
Like a rock as far as the police are concerned. And twice as solid since he's pleaded guilty. Now, Mrs. Martin will eventually have to learn the truth.
I suppose that'll be my job when the time comes.
However, there are several peculiar circumstances. The cap which he wore during the robbery, the gun, and the money are still missing.
Well, then how can the police be so sure?
Don't get your hopes up. Johnny could have panicked, lost the cap, and thrown away the gun and the money. The police are looking, and they won't stop until they find them.
But at the risk of taking advantage of a lifetime of friendship, I'd like to ask a favor.
If it's within my power.
I'll feel much better if you handle Johnny's case personally. Not only for his sake, but for his mother's.
All right, Father.
Thank you. I'll tell Johnny right away.
Father Cassidy lost no time in telling Johnny. And later that day, on his way back to the parish house from the prison, he couldn't resist stopping at Dobin's garage where Johnny worked.
Father Cassidy. Good day, Mr. Dobin. Edward, I was hoping I'd find you here. I've just been to see your brother. Oh, for a minute I thought maybe Mother'd found out about Johnny. Well, we won't let that happen if we can help it.
You bet.
I'm sure you'll both be happy to know that Bart Matthews, the chief public defender, is going to handle Johnny's case personally. Oh, well, that's wonderful, Father.
Well, that's just dandy.
Thank you very much, Father. You're welcome, son.
All right, Johnny, suppose we go over the facts once more.
Mr. Matthews, for 3 days we've been going over facts. By now you know them better than I do.
Perhaps.
I'm grateful to Father Cassidy, and I appreciate what you're trying to do for me. I hope you can get me off with as light a sentence as possible. But I'm guilty, that's all there is to it.
So you've been telling me for the past 3 days, Johnny. But I'm interested in something else.
What?
Why you're guilty.
Look, Mr. Matthews, why do you keep digging at me? I'm guilty. How many times do I have to tell you?
All right, Johnny. All right.
What are you going to do?
Keep on digging. Your boss, Nathaniel Dobin, your brother Edward, and anyone else who can throw some light on the whys and wherefores.
You're not going to talk to my mother.
I'm aware of her condition and that she knows nothing of your arrest.
You have to keep it that way. I'll take what's coming to me, and Eddie will make up some story about why I'm away. Business or recall to the Army or something. As long as she doesn't know the truth, she'll manage to do without me.
I promise to keep your mother out of this, Johnny, if I possibly can.
Thanks, Mr. Matthews. Thanks.
Johnny Martin lived with his mother and brother in one of those antiquated old relics, misplaced in a section of town now considered undesirable. You and Johnny lived here all your lives?
That's right, sir. Used to be a pretty fashionable neighborhood in the old days.
You two boys, the sole support of your mother?
Well, Johnny doesn't earn much. You know what a mechanic's salary is. He'll do better when the franchise comes through for my automobile agency.
Automobile agency?
Yes, sir. See, I'm going to let him handle the repair shop. But can you do anything to help the kid now?
Well, if I can't, I'm wasting an awful lot of time.
Oh, if he needed money or he was in a jam, he should have come to me. Try and get that kid to tell you anything. He's stubborn. He's like a mule. You been able to make him open up?
I've been doing my best.
It's a waste of time. He's a real mulehead.
I guess you know him better than I do.
Well, I should. I'm his brother.
Edward.
Oh, hello, Mother.
I hope I'm not interrupting, but I thought I heard voices.
Mother, this is Mr. Matthews.
How do you do, Mrs.
How
Martin?
do you do, Mr. Matthews?
We were just talking business.
Oh, Edward's a fine salesman, Mr. Matthews. I'm sure whatever car he has to sell is an excellent value.
You're quite a salesman yourself, Mrs. Martin.
The car will be in the garage anytime you want to test it.
I'll get in touch with you. Well, good day, Mrs. Martin.
Good day, Mr. Matthews.
Goodbye, Mr. Martin.
If there's anything I can do, you'll let me know.
I will. Oh, Father Cassidy thinks that Johnny is innocent. Do you?
Do you?
Well, that leaves us right where we started.
Where's that?
I'll let you know when the time comes. Goodbye.
Hello, Nat. Ed. Now listen, you've got to talk to Matthews.
And when I began to think things over, Counselor, I figured the best thing was to tell you all I know about Johnny Martin. I just don't get that stealing bit.
Then you believe he's innocent?
5 will get you 10 that he's nothing else but. I want to see the kid get out of the clink. His mother's beginning to ask about him. I can't go on pretending that he's away on business for me forever.
Well, Johnny pleaded guilty, and if he wants to get out of jail, even temporarily, he's going to have to change his plea. Then there's a matter of bail.
Oh, don't worry about that.
And when the case goes to trial?
The kid has an airtight alibi.
Oh,
The newspaper said that Lambert's store was robbed at 11:15, right?
that's right.
Well, here's Johnny Martin's time card. He was working at the garage that night, checked out at 11:10. You think he could have gone the 6 blocks to the store, cased it, and then tried to rob it all in a space of 5 minutes?
You're willing to swear to this in court?
You bet I am.
I decided to accept Dobin's testimony. Knowing Johnny's concern for his mother, I convinced him to change his plea to not guilty. Bail was set at $1,500, and Dobin kept his word and put up the money.
Help good, Johnny?
I'll take it while I can, Father.
With the help of Mr. Matthews, I hope it'll be for a long, long time.
Now, Father, that's up to Johnny.
Oh, thanks. I'll be seeing you.
You know, I can't figure you out, Johnny. I give you your alibi, put up bail, take you back on the job, and you walk around here like I'm dirt under your feet. You don't even say thanks.
Why did you gimmick that time card? You know I didn't check out that night.
I'm surprised at you, Johnny. You know I like you and your brother, that nice mother of yours. Yes, sir, I like the whole family. And you know me, if I like somebody, nothing's too good for them. Relax.
you're sure there's nothing about that you'd like to change, Mr. Lambert?
No, it was just as I told you. It was kind of dark in the store, and his face was in the shadow, especially with the cap he was wearing. But the boy you have in jail looks like him. And I know that leather jacket anywhere.
All right, that's all, Mr. Lambert. Thank you.
It's so good to have both my boys home again.
This is only the beginning, Mom. I got big plans.
Your own automobile agency.
Yes, ma'am. Them things are going to start humming around here. I have a new stove, new refrigerator, new dishwasher.
I'd settle for a new dryer. Let's not wait till you open your agency. The dishes are wet now.
Johnny, you got no imagination. You're going to be working with your hands the rest of your life. I'll get it. Hello? Oh, hello, Nat.
Change in plans is tonight. Meet me in half an hour.
Tonight?
Yes, tonight. You be there.
All right. All right, I'll leave now.
Business, Edward?
Yes, Mother. I'm afraid I'll have to go out for a little while.
Well, good luck, dear.
Sleep well, Mother. Do a good job.
Be right back, Mom.
Where are you going? I've got a date.
With Dobin?
With Dobin, if it's any of your business.
Look, I wouldn't care if you fell off a cliff, but Mom would. So what you do is my business.
Let go.
Edward, if you come home early, perhaps we could play a game or two of cribbage.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Mother. You and Johnny can play a couple of games while you're waiting. I'll be right back. See if you can win a couple of games from Mother. She's great competition.
Set up the board, Mom. I'll be right back. Are you stupid or don't you care? Right now, Dobin is dynamite. If you get stuck, how do we keep that from Mom? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen because you're not going anyplace.
I'm not kidding. Now let go of me. You want Mom to hear all this ruckus?
You care so much about Mom, stay away from Dobin.
Look, Johnny, the only way out of this trap is with money. With money, we can set up our own agency. You be the inside man. I'll do the selling.
No sale, Eddie.
Johnny, stay out of this. It's none of your business.
You go inside, Eddie, or I'll break your arm. I can do it. You know I can.
I'm glad you decided to stay home, Edward. Are you sure you're doing the right thing?
That's part of Edward's selling technique, Mom. Always keep him guessing.
You two understand each other so well.
Hello?
Hello, let me speak to Edward, please.
No. No?
Look, you crazy kid, let me talk to Edward.
No, that's all right.
Who was it?
Wrong number.
It's your play, Johnny.
Strange man, Nathaniel Dobin, the way he's taken those two boys to him.
Yes, but Dobin's not paying Edward the kind of money that allows him to indulge in sprees and at the same time contribute to the support of the house.
Sprees? Well, I don't understand.
We had the police check on the night spots in town. One in particular remembers him. Oh, he doesn't come in often, but when he does, he splurges.
What has all this got to do with Johnny's case?
I can't say definitely, but I've started an experiment in chain reaction.
Hello?
Eddie, I've got a scoop for you. I think there's a process server on the way over to your house. No, you can't duck it. You have to take it.
Okay, thanks.
Anything wrong, Edward?
Oh, no, nothing, Mom. Just a business call.
You seem so preoccupied today. Do you feel all right?
Oh, sure, Mom. I'm fine. Somebody coming up the walk. I'll get it.
You were expecting me, huh?
I saw you coming up the walk. Where is it?
The State versus John Martin. You'd appear day after tomorrow.
Okay, goodbye.
Oh, I forgot to ask you. You are Edward Martin?
Yeah, goodbye.
It is trouble, isn't it, Edward?
No, not exactly, Mother. It's just that, well, one of Mr. Dobin's customers is suing him because of some faulty delivery, and since I'm one of the salesmen, why, they're subpoenaed me to appear as a witness. It's nothing to worry about.
If you say so, Edward.
But, Mother, you know how tricky these lawsuits can get. If someone should come around asking questions.
What kind of questions?
Well, you know, like, where was I a week ago Thursday night? You remember the night we played cribbage?
Edward, last night was the first time you and I played cribbage in months.
No, Mother, if anyone should ask, we did play cribbage that night. You'd say that, wouldn't you? For me?
The day of the trial arrived. The district attorney had prepared his case well. In quick order, he placed Johnny at the scene of the crime. The jacket tying him irrevocably to the robbery. And the young prosecutor made much of Johnny's earlier confession of guilt. Dobin was the first important witness for the defense, supplying Johnny with his alibi, the dated time card. Your witness.
Mr. Dobin, you say that on the night of the robbery, Johnny Martin was helping you on a motor repair job.
That's right.
Is it customary for you to work on the motors?
Not customary. Only when one of my customers is in a rush. At night, somebody was in a rush.
Mr. Dobin, would you mind holding up both of your hands so that the court may clearly see them?
What's this all about?
Your Honor, the witness will do as directed. Are these the hands of a mechanic, a man who works on motors?
Objection, Your Honor.
That is all. You may step down.
A shadow of doubt had been cast on Dobin's testimony. A shadow strong enough to destroy the alibi. My next witness, Edward Martin, would, I hoped, prove more helpful. But I wasn't depending only on him. Sit back, Mr. Martin. We all want to help Johnny, don't we?
That's why I'm here.
You think a great deal of Johnny, don't you?
He's my brother, isn't he?
The night the robbery occurred, where were you, Edward Martin?
I was playing cribbage with my mother.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course I'm sure.
Positive, Mr. Martin?
Yeah, I'm positive. If you don't believe me, call her. Ask her.
You don't have to ask her. This trial isn't necessary. I did it. I confess.
Your Honor, before my client is allowed to change his plea, I would like to call one more witness to the stand and then continue my questioning of Edward Martin.
To what end?
Well, from the very beginning, Your Honor, this case has been most involved. I believe there are circumstances still to be explored before justice can be done.
Any objection from the prosecution? None. Proceed.
I would like to call Mrs. Edward Martin to the stand.
Call Mrs. Martin. You may step down, young man.
Thank you, Father.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Mrs. Martin, the court wishes to thank you for your request to testify at this trial. Mr. Matthews has explained to me that in spite of your illness, you insisted upon offering your testimony to ensure that justice be done. The court will do everything within its power to make this as easy for you as possible.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mrs. Martin, I want to ask you just one question. Was Edward at home the entire evening of the robbery?
No,
You don't remember, Mother. I was home all that night. I was home.
Another outburst like that, young man, and I'll sentence you for contempt.
Your Honor, I love both my sons. Johnny, I adopted. I've never loved him the less. And Edward, well, Edward always reminded me of his father, and perhaps I'm guilty of favoring him. One can forgive an indulgent mother, but never a stupid one. Is there anything else, Mr. Matthews?
You're a very brave woman, Mrs. Martin. Thank you. Your witness.
No questions.
I would like to recall Mr. Edward Martin.
Mr. Edward Martin, please.
You can't pin anything on me. Okay, so I wasn't home. What does that prove? That I robbed the store instead of Johnny? Not in your life.
Have you ever seen this jacket before?
Yeah, sure, it's Johnny's.
Your Honor, the statement by Mr. Edward Martin is correct. This jacket is the property of Johnny Martin. But there's one statement in the arresting officer's report which interests me. That report states that at the time of the capture, Johnny was carrying the jacket. The assumption being that he was going to discard it. Now, Your Honor, we must remember that the gun, the cap worn by the robber, and the stolen money are still missing. Now, if Johnny had time to discard or hide all of these things, why didn't he hide or discard the incriminating leather jacket? Your Honor, my assumption is that Johnny didn't have time to put on the leather jacket in an effort to save his brother Edward. It all becomes perfectly clear now, Your Honor. Edward, wearing Johnny's jacket, robbed that liquor store. Johnny learned of his brother's plan, but arrived too late to stop it. With the police cars closing in, he realized that were his brother caught, his mother might not be able to stand the shock, for he knew that Edward was his mother's favorite son. So he fought with Edward, took the jacket, and deliberately exposed himself to capture by the police so that Edward might escape.
It's not true. Johnny did it. I didn't do it.
Your Honor, I move for a dismissal of the charges against my client, John Martin.
No, don't do it. Don't do it, Your Honor. Don't do it.
Edward Martin eventually confessed to the robbery. The police recovered the stolen money, the gun, and the cap which Edward had hidden in the garage. For his complicity in the robbery, Dobin was sentenced to the same term as Edward. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. We congratulate Public Defender N.D. Meyer and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice.